So in the last class, we discussed about the definitions and variations between the communication and the mobile communication. Communication pertaining to a two-way transmission of different data streams, and those data streams will be considered as signals in terms of the communication. And after that, we have been seeing what is a mobile communication. Here also there will be a transmission of data in to and fro fashion will be happening. And among the devices that are being communicating in the mobile communication, one could be, at least one could be the handheld devices, other there may be the handheld devices, wired or non-wired devices, whatever it is. And there is a chance of those devices can mobilize from one point to the another point, and that mobilization could be done locally or globally, right? And the communication of the signals among those mobilizing communicating devices will be done through any wireless network or distributed or diversified networks. And coming to the fundamentals of the mobile communication, we have to learn about different fundamentals, important things before entering into the mobile computing paradigm. That is the transmission media. We have to decide what the transmission media that can be used in a mobile computing environment, and the signals that will be used through the transmission media, their frequencies, propagation methodologies, modulation techniques to enhance the signal strengths to reach the forever destinations, and antennas to radiate the wireless signals, and various networks that we are going to follow to propagate our signals, and the protocols that we are going to plan for sharing the signals and communicating the signals among the different communicating points, among which the transmission media. Coming to the transmission media, the means or the medium through which you are going to sending the signals, among which we are having two categories, guided transmission and the unguided transmission. As the name implies, the transmission of the signals will be guided by some material in the guided transmission, and there will not be any guidance of the signal through any specific material in the unguided transmission. Coming to the transmission through the guide, that is the guided transmission. Here we'll have any metal wires or any optical fibers that could be guiding our signal from the source to the destination, following through some network, following through certain protocols, and reaching the destination finally. And these particular metal wires or the optical fibers are going to carrying various signals from source to the destination. And coming to the category of the guided transmission, we're having the four categories mainly. Power lines are there, twisted pair cables are there, coaxial cables, and the optical fibers. Power lines are going to carrying the signals with a frequency below the 525 kilohertz, and twisted pair cable having two pairs of cables with the copper strands within them, having two categories within them. One is pertaining to this distance of 2 kilometers and having the frequency of 100 kilohertz, and 100 meters distance far away, which is being with the frequency of 200 megahertz. And coaxial cables are going to conveying your signal under the 500 megahertz frequency up to the distance of 40 meters. And the optical fibers, they are going to carry your signal to the very much larger distance when compared to the other three guided media until the kilometers of 1000 within the frequency of 2 into 10 power hertz, okay, 10 power 4 hertz. And whatever may be the guided media that you are going to use, either whether it may be a optical fiber, coaxial cable, twisted pair cable, or a power line, with a variation of distance that are been in between them, and also the frequency variations, there will be a direct communication path using this guided media between the two communication parties. Whether those parties may be a device or maybe a human or whatever it is, there will be a direct connected path between those two communicating parties. And finally, the advantages of the guided transmission, as we are having a directed path between the two communication parties, there will not be much of the external interference or external sources into this guided media carrying our data signal between the source and the destination. And at the same time, there is also possibility between a single communicating points. That is, only two parties are not going to be communicating here using the guided media. We are also having the chance of having the multiple connectivities among those parties using the multiplexing or the demultiplexing procedures, right? So that is about the guided transmission. And coming to the disadvantages, we will not have the chance of the source and destination could move. We'll not having any mobilization. All the sources and all the destination, whatever maybe they are being connected with all the guided media or the guided transmission media, has to stay static. And whenever you are going to increase the connectivity between those communicating parties using this guided transmission media, even though we are following the standard multiplexing and coding procedures, there will be reduction or down in the standard of the quality of the signal that is being reaching from source to the destination. As the hardware is going to be getting increased, the connections among the single parties, or that is nothing but multiple number of parties, are going to be increasing the multiple number of connections. Obviously there will be much of disturbance, and there will be a down in the frequency ranges that are going to be carrying over. That is, the signal strength will be getting down, and there will be much of the disturbances. Obviously the standard of the quality of the signal will be get reduced. Those are the disadvantages of guided transmission. And coming to the unguided, unguided is nothing but, obviously there will not be any guidance to the signal that is being transmitting from source to the destination. That is, we are not having any hardware intact in here. The signal will be get transmitted through the air. So how it is going to be transmitted through the air, as the signal is the electrical signal in the guided media, how it could be transmitted through the air here. So whatever will be the electrical signals that are being used in the guided media or the wired media will be translated into the electromagnetic signal, will be translated into the respective electromagnetic signal. And this particular electromagnetic signal will be get radiated, that is nothing but transmitted or disseminated into the air by the antennas. The electromagnetic signals which are to be transmitted through the air has to be radiated into the air with a specific frequency using the radiating equipment called antenna. So antennas are going to be having the capability to radiate our electromagnetic signals into the air, right? So the frequencies that are going to have, frequencies we are going to see in this particular electromagnetic radiation, whatever may be the frequency ranges that are available in the corresponding unguided transmission media are of various categories. Different variations are available in this electromagnetic radiation or the non-wired media or the unguided transmission media. So we are having a long wavelength radio, very low frequencies, long wavelength, which is called as a radio frequency, which is very lower frequency range. And next one is medium wavelength radio. It is a medium frequency range. And short wavelength radio, which is of high frequency range. Long wavelength radio, very low frequency range. Medium wavelength radio, medium frequency. And short wavelength, that is high frequency. Okay, that is about the wavelength frequencies of the corresponding. One second. Okay, I allowed the renaming convention. You can rename yourself now. Right. So, coming to this wavelengths, so you observe that whether the corresponding wavelengths are going to be decided here, that long wavelength radio frequencies are very low frequencies and medium wavelength frequencies are medium. And coming to the short wavelength, it is of high frequency. Do you observe the relationship between the frequency and the wavelength here? Whenever we will have the short wavelength, we will be having the high frequency. Whenever we are having the long wavelength, we will be having the very lower frequency. That is the relationship between the frequency and the wavelength. They are inversely proportional to each other. They are inversely proportional to each other. Wavelength is inversely proportional to the frequency. So whenever we'll have the short wavelength, then we'll have the high frequency, right? So we can observe the radios, that is either maybe the transistors and whatever it is. There we can see this LW, MW and SW conventions on them. That is, we'll have the different radio channels that are existing on LW mode, MW mode and the SW mode, right? I think everybody know about these things. Do you all know about these things? Medium wave frequency, short wave and LW, long wave radio signals. Anybody saw the radios? Hello? Respond yourself. I think all are unmuted.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you saw the radio signals with those
Yes, ma'am.
indications?
Yes, ma'am.
LW, MW, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So already, and the next one is your well-known thing, that is FM frequency. FM radio band frequency. That is a very high frequency when compared to the short wavelength radio. When compared to the short wavelength radio high frequency, this FM radio frequency is very high, which will be denoted as VHF, right? And another radio frequency, another frequency that is available in the corresponding unguided transmission media is ultra high frequency. Ultra high frequency. Next one is super high. Hello. Who are unable to remain silent, please unmute yourself. I have been unmuted all of you to give you certain feedback regarding any problem. Otherwise, if you are unable to control your sounds or are unable to remain silent, please unmute yourself. Right. And coming to the next frequency, that is super high micro frequency and extreme high frequency EHF and far infrared, visible light and ultraviolet frequencies. These are the various variations in the frequencies that are available in the unguided media, right? Next. These are the frequency ranges that we have to know about VHF and TV VHF channels. Very high frequencies are going to range from 50 to 250 megahertz. Very high frequencies comes under your FM range, right? Those are been under the range of 50 to 250 megahertz and the range is of 50 kilometers. And the range is of 50 kilometers that you can lapse the VHF frequencies up to 50 kilometers. That is, we can radiate the signals up to 50 kilometers. And coming to the television, very high frequency channels. The same very high frequency channels can also be used in this television broadcasting, and those are going to having the frequency of 174 to 230 megahertz. 174 to 230 megahertz. And coming to the advantages of this very high frequencies are frequency modulation will be used so that multiple frequency bands are being possible for us. Number of FM channels are being able to seen by us, isn't it or not? Number of FM channels are available for us within a short variation, that is 92.3, 92.5, 93.5 and 98.5. These are only between the short range of frequencies itself. We can accommodate number of frequencies for the number of channels. That is the advantage of this very high frequency band of spectrum. Okay, and already we discussed that this radiation of electromagnetic signals and the frequency bands of electromagnetic signals are being named as frequency band spectrums. That is the name that will be given with this electromagnetic signals. That is the speciality of this unguided transmission media and the electromagnetic signals. So the first advantage of this very high frequencies are frequency modulation technique will be used with the signals, and multiple frequencies can be accommodated and can be transmitted. That is being possible. And transmitting antenna length will be from 3 meters to the 60 centimeters. Right from the 60 centimeters of the size, it can be extended up to the 3 meters. Okay, so compared to the 10 meters antenna, which will be used in the short wave and medium wave, within the very high frequency mode, we can use only up to 3 meters. There is the maximum size of the antenna will be only up to 3 meters in the VHF transmission or VHF frequency of the signals. And disadvantages is mobility is not practical beyond the length of 3 meters and the 60 centimeters. If you want to go beyond the particular mobility, we have to go for the type of the antenna. That is, we have to change the antenna type. We're going to use, we'll see what are all the antennas and what are the types of antennas where we could use in this various variation of the frequencies. We'll see whenever we'll identify the antennas, right? Whereas disadvantage, in short, the disadvantage will be the type of the antenna has to be changed whenever we have to change the mobility of the transmission of this VHF frequencies. If the VHF transmitting parties are not mobilizing very far, then we will be able to arrange only 3 meters to 60 centimeters of the antenna, which is possible or which is sufficient for us. But if the parties are moving very distant apart, then the antennas of 3 meters are not possible. Then we have to change to the another type of the antennas. So this is about the very high frequencies, right? And coming to the other frequencies which are to be discussed and which are being running in practical, coming to our unguided transmissions. See, ultra high frequencies, okay, and global system for mobile communication, GSM already we know about. And next one is digital enhanced cordless telecommunication and digital audio broadcasting. These are also variations that are being available with this unguided media transmission. That is nothing but electromagnetic spectrums. These are all the various electromagnetic spectrums that are available for us for different applications we can use for, and how they are being varying, what are all their variations, we'll see. Ultra high frequencies are available in between 200 and 2000 megahertz, ranging from few meters to a few kilometers. These ultra high frequencies are one of the spectrum which will be used for different applications, and it has been varying from 200 to 200 megahertz, and the distance that can be covered with this UHF is from few meters to the few kilometers. And GSM, already we know about this, okay, global system for mobile communications like mobiles, tablets, and iPods and whatever it is. This frequency range will be used for mobile communication like mobiles, tabs, tabloids, and whatever it is. Okay, so these are going to be using this. GSM is mainly meant for 2G communication. GSM is mainly meant for, and it has been introduced for the 2G communication, that is second generation communication, right? And this is going to be ranging in between 1710 to 1880 megahertz, and is having another spectrum of frequency that is between 890 and 960, and another one is 1800 and 900. So three spectrums or three ranges are available in GSM mode, that is global system for mobile communication. Those ranges are 890 to 960, 900 to 1800, and 1710 to the 1880 megahertz. So all these three spectrums can be working under the GSM mode itself, right? And next one is DECT and 3G. DECT is digital enhanced cordless telecommunication. Cordless telecommunication can be done, that is wireless telecommunication can be done, and third generation implementation can be done using this DECT and the 3G. And that particular frequency range, I mean DECT and 3G falls under the frequency range of 1880 to the 2190 megahertz. The spectrum of DECT and 3G will be 1880 to the 2190 megahertz, right? And coming to the digital audio broadcasting, DAB. The abbreviated form of the digital audio broadcasting is DAB, which is not available in our country till now. Actually, European countries are going to following this digital audio broadcasting, whereas they are going to follow much of digital audio broadcasting through wireless phones, will phones, or walkie-talkies and whatever it is. They are going to much use this digital audio broadcasting. European countries are going to using this, and we are not having any this type of DAB, and their frequencies are from 1452 to 1472 megahertz, very short spectrum, and 223 to 230 megahertz. Very small size of the spectrum is going to be used by the DAB. Okay, so this is about the UHF, GSM, DECT, 3G, and the DAB communications, right? UHF frequencies are between 200 to 2000 megahertz, ranging from few meters to the kilometers, and GSM having the 3 spectrums within it, within which it is going to operating with the second generation mobiles and the tablets and whatever it is. DECT and 3G are working on the 3rd generation and cordless mobile communication, which is ranging from 1880 to the 2190 megahertz. 2190, and digital audio broadcasting, which is used in the European countries for exclusive audio transmission. Okay, without any disturbance, this audio transmission will be done. And coming to the advantages of this, the multiple frequency bands are being available. Already we see that we will be available with many number of frequency bands, and modulation methods and the coding will be feasible for the greater bandwidth, as you are going to use it using the high frequency signals here. High frequency, that is megahertz range is very high here. So that as you are going to increase high frequency of the signals, multiple frequency bands are there, high frequency is being used here, and modulation methods are being multiplexed here. So due to which will be available with the greater bandwidth. That is the advantage of this UHF range of frequencies. Okay, and also as the mobility is not possible with the frequency VHF, previous VHF range, within this UHF range, that is ultra high frequency range signals are being possible with the mobility of the parties who are being communicating. Okay, that antennas that you are going to use with these parties are we can discuss in later. That is UHF frequencies are being possible with the high bandwidth, there is greater bandwidth and high frequency bands, and mobility of the parties are being possible with this corresponding UHF range. Okay, and coming to this disadvantage of this range, as they are being distant, as they are being aiding in distant communication, obviously the loss of signal will be done because of the obstructions that are being encountered by the signals, like buildings, trees, and whatever it is. There will be reflections from that particular trees, buildings, and whatever the obstructions that are there, mountains. As they are useful for the larger distances, as they are higher frequency in range, obviously those signals are being facing the problem of losing the strength of them. How they will lose the signal strength? Because of the reflections that are coming from the buildings which are being bombarding. So whenever the signal bombards a signal, a building or a high building or a particular mountain or a tree, obviously it is going to be reflecting back. Even though it has been diverting to reach the destination, the signal strength will be get lowered. Okay, and to transmit these signals to the larger distances, obviously most of the base stations are required at different geostationary locations. Many number of base stations are required to transmit the signals to the larger distances or high distances. So that is about the disadvantages. So we discussed about VHF frequencies in the unguided transmission media, and also UHF frequencies in guided transmission media. Their advantages and disadvantages are being discussed. Their frequency bands are also being discussed here, right? And coming to the other frequencies, that is super high or super extra frequencies. Here, their frequencies and the bands are being given here. Super extra frequencies or super high frequencies are ranging from 2 gigahertz to the 40 gigahertz, and those are being called as microwave bands or the satellite signal bands. So those are called as microwave bands or the satellite signal bands, which are also comes under this unguided transmission itself. At extreme high frequencies, EHF, these are all above 40 gigahertz. That is above the microwave frequency bands, we are having the EHF. Above the microwave frequencies, we are having the EHF frequencies that are above 40 gigahertz to the 10 power 14 hertz. And coming to the infrared, among the infrared, we are having the categories, that is far infrared and the infrared. Far infrared will be optical wavelength. That is, in the optical fiber, you are going to be using this infrared signals. Their optical wavelengths will be between 1 micrometers to the 2 micrometers. Very shorter wavelength of optical signals are being used in the far infrared, whereas infrared is going to be having 0.90 meters to the 0.85 meters. This particular wavelength will be used in the infrared. So infrared signals and far infrared signals used by the remote controls and all these radars, isolation, sonic machines, all these are going to be using this infrared. And extreme high frequencies and microwave frequencies will be used in the microwave signals and microwave radiations. All those are going to be used in the super high frequencies. And infrared, already you know about this applications of the infrared. Already you are practically aware about this particular infrared frequencies, right? And coming to the antennas, so we are having this much of and this large range of electromagnetic radiation spectrums. This we are having the large range of electromagnetic radium spectrum. That is, we are having the VHF range of broad spectrum and UHF range of broad spectrum, and we are also having the extra high frequency, super high frequency, infrared frequencies. These are the various variations we are having in the electromagnetic signals. So how they could be radiated into the air so that they can reach the destination. How they could be radiated into the air so that they can reach the destination. So all these signals will be sent by the source from the source device, where these signals will be get captured by the one particular device and it will be transmitted into the air. And again at the receiver side, again another device has to receive that particular electromagnetic radiated signal and has to given back to the source or destination device so that they can view that or they can hear or whatever it is. So the device which is going to receiving this electromagnetic signals and transmitting into the air and receiving the signal from the air and again dumped back into the destination device is nothing but an antenna. Antenna is the one of the device which is going to transmitting our electromagnetic signals into the air and receiving the signal from the air and again dumped into our destination device. And this particular antenna is going to be varying from very narrow frequencies to the very high frequencies. Very narrow frequencies to the very high frequencies. Its variation will be from a single piece of wire to a parabolic dish. A single piece of wire to a parabolic dish. That is the type of antenna that you are discussing. The minimum size of the antenna will be a single piece of wire to a larger size of antenna would be a parabolic dish. Generally, we'll observe the parabolic dishes on a terraces of any apartments or high storied buildings. Anybody saw these parabolic dishes?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So we'll mainly be observing the satellite dispatching or satellite disseminating parabolic dishes will be there, and our cable signals are also going to be receiving by the particular parabolic dishes itself. So the antenna could be a single wire, like our wireless mics or particular wireless what is called as FM receivers in the car. Whatever it is, there may be a single antenna or a single dipole antenna or a single strand antenna. From that particular sites to the parabolic dish, we are having variations in the different antennas, right? So these are the antennas which are the medium, one of the single medium that has been existing to radiate our electromagnetic signals. Even though you are not having any direct one-to-one contact or a one-to-one connectivity like a wire or whatever it is, but antennas that are there for us in between the communicating parties in order to send the data or in order to receive these electromagnetic signals to transmit our data streams, right? Coming to the variation of the antennas. First one is lambda by 4 dipole antenna. Lambda by 4 dipole antenna, that is the first category. Here, lambda is nothing but which is going to indicating the wavelength of the signal. Wavelength of the signal. See, I am here drawing. Are you able to see? Are you able to see my draw?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Okay. So if the signal is like this, see, if the signal is like this, then the wavelength of the signal will be the length of the total positive and negative snippet of that particular signal. That is, the lambda is going to be denoted like this. That is, both the positive and negative side of the signal lapsing, the lapsing distance or the lapse of the particular positive and negative side, negative part of the signal will be considered as the wavelength of the signal. So if a signal is having a wavelength of this category, some signals which is going to be varying like this, for example, if this is the signal, then the wavelength of the signal is only this length. Are you able to understand or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So if these are the signals, then the signal variations, that is, this is the, I mean, this will be called as the frequency of the signal. That is how many number of signals are there for a single minute. How many number of these wavelengths, or if the signal is being propagating is like this. This is one cycle of the signal. One cycle of the signal is going to having a single positive snippet and the negative snippet. And the second cycle of the signal is again having a positive side and the negative side. Right? This is the second cycle. And the third cycle, fourth cycle, like this, the signal is going to be propagating. And whenever we have to consider about the frequency of the signal, the frequency will be considered as the total number of cycles per a minute or a second. Whatever may be the time variation that we will take, the total number of cycles for a second or a per minute will be considered as the frequency of the signal. And the total lapse or the spread plot of the signal for its own a positive and negative side of the signal will be called as the wavelength of the signal. That is been indicated by lambda. That is indicated by lambda. If the signal is being transmitting, with the wavelength of lambda by 4, that is, if the wavelength of the signal has been divided by 4 times, and the antenna which has been transmitting the signal with a signal wavelength of lambda by 4 is called as the lambda by 4 dipole antenna. If the lambda has been divided by 4, then the antenna that is being transmitting the signal using this signal with a wavelength of lambda by 4. Its wavelength has been divided by 4 times, then it is called as lambda by 4 dipole antenna. Coming to the dipole, the poles that will be used for the antenna will be in 2 in number. The poles that will be used for this antenna will be 2 in number, right? Poles will be 2. So that's why you are calling as di. Di indicates dipole, right? See, dipole, right? So I is equal to 2. 2 poles are going to use it by us, right? So that's why the antenna here it is called as dipole antenna. Okay, this dipole antenna is going to radiating our signal at a wavelength of lambda by 4. If its actual own wavelength is lambda, then the corresponding wavelength that is going to be transmitted by the antenna will be divided by 4 times. So that's why lambda by 4 dipole antenna that you are going to call, right? So see here how the dipole antenna is going to be radiating the signal to the outside world. So for example, if our antenna is being located at car roof, that is to receive the frequencies, to hear the FM radio and whatever it is. If your antenna is being located out, on the roof of the car, then our dipole antenna is going to our dipole antenna is going to be radiating, or it is going to be receiving the signal in this range. So this is the antenna here. This is the antenna, right? This is the antenna, and its corresponding amplifier will be there, which is going to receiving the signal, increasing the strength of the signal, and also sending the signal outside to that particular car. Even though if you are being transmitting the signal through our mobile while driving the car, the signal has to be transmitted from your closed car to the outside, and the same signal has to be get received into your car, which is being closed by your window shades, right? Then how you are going to receiving the data? By using that particular dipole antenna, which has been situated at the car roof. So the signal will be received in this pattern itself. The signal frequencies has to be received by the antenna in this range. Whatever will be the signal, it has to come in like this. It will be received like this, right? And it has to be get amplified and send inside to your car. And at the same time, whatever the signal that you are going to send from your mobile, it will be get amplified and sent through the antenna to outside, right? So while you are talking the mobile in your car, for example, say, then your signal has to be get amplified by the amplifier, which is attached to your antenna, and it is to be sent outside. And at the same time, the signals coming from outside, that is from our mobile user who are being connected with, those signals has to come through the antenna and has to be get modified and get inside into your car, which is closed one, right? So this is λ/4 dipole antenna. How this antenna is going to be radiating the signals, how extent it can radiate, how the data will be get radiated, what sort of pattern it is going to give you if you are using an antenna which is going to transmitting the signal by dividing its wavelength by 4 times. We will see. So are all of you able to see this? The radiation pattern of the antenna.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So if this is the antenna, the corresponding signal pattern will be considered in 3 planes, X, Y, and Z. That is in 3 axes. We are going to observing the pattern of the radiation of the particular antenna. If you are going to use the λ/4 dipole antenna, the antenna will be situated in this way, and the radiation will be like this. On the either side of this particular antenna, our radiation will be like this. So it is not going to covering under or beneath that particular antenna or upside the antenna. We are having the radiation pattern in the XY plane and also XZ or YZ plane. Only 2 planes are possible for us. We'll not having any circular pattern. That is, we'll not be having the total 360 degrees of coverage using this λ/4 dipole antenna. Its radiation pattern will be either this side or this side. We'll not having the radiation of the signal under this one. Are you seeing my mouse pointer? Are you able to see the mouse pointer? Okay. So above the Z-axis also, we are not going to see the radiation pattern. So only this much of range of frequencies or this much of range of area you are going to covering the λ/4 radiation pattern in the λ/4 dipole antenna, right? And coming to the next one, that is, okay, we are running out of, we'll discuss about the λ/2 dipole antenna now. And another one is the antenna which is going to be transmitting the signal using its signal strength divided by 2 of its wavelength. If its wavelength is lambda, then it is going to be dividing its wavelength by 2. That is, it is making the half of its wavelength and transmitting the signal through its dipole antenna. So if you are going to be transmitting the signal from this, so if you are being transmitting the signal and you are going to be amplifying the signal while transmitting, and here our lambda by 2 antenna is here, it is going to be transmitting the signal in this way, in this way, in this way, and in this way. It is going to be dividing the wavelength of its signal by 2. That is making the wavelength half, and it is going to be dividing its wavelength, and it is transmitting the signal with half of the wavelength of its original strength. Its original strength of the wavelength will be divided by 2 and it will be transmitting. So other side, the destination side will have the current amplifier will be there to boost up the signal that is being received by the sender. Again, there will be an antenna which is being receiving all these things and whatever it is. For example, if you are being using the mobile here, our dipole antenna is been receiving the data and send it to over. The receiver has to receive this particular data here at side. Through his amplifier itself, he is going to be receiving the data here. How the radiation pattern of this particular lambda by 2 dipole antenna could be. So how it is been having? It is going to cover the under beneath fashion also. Under beneath fashion. That is the complete correction. That is whatever may be the size of the antenna it is going to have. It is going to covering all the sides. That is on the ZY side and also the XY side. On the ZY side, on the XY side, it is going to covering the total thing. Even the antenna is going to be existing high. That is in that lambda by 4 dipole antenna position. It is going to be radiating only the position of the existing antenna. Whereas it is not going to covering under the antenna side. It is here it is being possible with the lambda by 2. It is going to covering much of the area, and the antenna is also going to be covering both the Z axis and also the X axis. If possible, Y could also be get covered. That is the radiation pattern of the, you can observe how the antenna position, how the pattern of the signal here. See, the antenna position of lambda by 2 is only for the 6 type. Lambda by 4 antenna is only for this extent, and the radiation pattern is extendable only up to certain area. It may cover or may not cover the ZY plane or the XY plane completely. Whereas coming to this lambda by 2 dipole antenna, it is going to covering the total area it is been existing. Total area it is also going to be existing here, right? So these are the two variations of the antennas we'll be discussing in this class. Whereas we'll be moving to the another radiation antennas. We're having also the directed transmission antenna. Only 3 antennas are being given in your syllabus. That is lambda by 4 dipole antenna, lambda by 2 dipole antenna, and directed transmission antenna. So 2 are being discussed in this class, and in next class we're going to be discussing about this directed transmission antenna, right? So what you have been discussed here is, in this class, unguided transmission media covering a very large spectrum of electromagnetic signals, right from the very low frequencies to the ultraviolet and the infrared frequencies. Okay, short wavelength frequencies are there, high frequencies are there, FM frequencies are there, ultra high frequencies are there, super high frequencies are there, extreme high frequencies, infrared, ultraviolet, and all those things. And their frequency ranges, individual advantages and disadvantages are being saw. That is, very high frequency ranges are being discussed. Ultra high frequencies, GSM, DECT, digital audio broadcasting, all are being identified. Super high frequencies, extreme high frequencies, infrareds, and their wavelengths and frequency ranges are being saw. And antenna is being discussed. What is the medium that will be used to radiate these electromagnetic frequencies in various broad spectrums. With the antenna ranges are being from a single piece of white to the parabolic dish. And discussed about 2 types of antenna, lambda by 4 dipole antenna and lambda by 2 dipole antenna. Lambda by 4 dipole antenna is going to be covering either maybe one side of the antenna or completely may not be completely covering the 360 degrees of the radiation, whereas there will be slight enhancement in radiation pattern in the lambda by 2 dipole antenna, right? And another antenna is also there in your syllabus, that is the directed transmission antenna, which we'll discuss in the next class. So if you are having any doubts regarding the antennas or their transmissions, you can ask in the next class. Please go through the transmission antennas and their transmission patterns once. Okay, I'll post the material today in your Edmodo groups. Please everybody join immediately in the Edmodo group. Okay, once you complete the next hour, please join everybody in the Edmodo group. There you'll be sharing your syllabus, your question papers and your materials. Okay, so now leaving the session, get ready for the second session. Okay, I'm ending here. Okay, get ready for the next session. And be ready with the doubts regarding the antennas and the radiation for the next class. Okay, we'll start with the class, next class with the doubts on the antennas, and we'll continue with the next part. Right. Okay, I'm ending here.
Okay, ma'am.